Good morning. Welcome to What Have I Just Read with Anastasia, with Michael,
Malcolm,
and the jingle.
Right.
And Mike, lovely to see you.
Yeah, it's great to be back.
Yes.
And I went to Dubai for a couple of days for some family business matters with my brother who was there. And the World Expo is amazing. If you can go there the last few days until the end of March, go. It's literally worth whatever you spend on a ticket. And funnily enough, the reading today is quite multi. One of the things that struck me about the reading today, by the way, it's Genesis 49, starting to read at verse 33. Is it's quite multinational. I don't know whether it's because I've got that multinational sort of glasses on after being in Dubai and the World Expo, but because you've got Israelites, you've got Egyptians, and
You've got the Canaanites.
a lot of different people there. And it's just like Dubai, where literally you've got the entire world all assembled, and particularly at the Expo, they're all wearing different clothes, national costumes and stuff. And it's actually really amazing to see everyone come together. And I sort of felt that in the passage today, is that they're all kind of working together. And Pharaoh lets him go off back to bury his dad. And it's like, yeah, go off and do that. And everyone celebrates the life.
Yeah. Some fascinating things here. I mean, it's there's that great line which almost could be used to sum up the book of Genesis, actually, where Joseph weeps and says with them when they sort of are frightened now that Dad Jacob has died. They think, okay, this is the point at which Joseph is going to get his revenge for what we did to him all that time ago.
Right, yeah, it's amazing.
And Joseph then says this great line, I mentioned it before, even though you intended to do harm to me, God intended it for good.
It's a famous line, isn't it? A lot of people find comfort in it, that even though sometimes people's bad intentions come through and they are able to play it out, it's not necessarily that the results will be bad, because God is still above the scheming.
And very good for us when we do bad stuff.
True.
So, And again, a great thing about it really ends right with the faithfulness of God. You know, he'll bring you out of this land to the land that he swore to Abraham, to Isaac and to Jacob. And the very fact that they bury Joseph in that land is really, really important.
And this is the same place where Abraham, that's the same place
where
that Abraham actually bought.
That's right, the first sort of plot of land in the promised land.
Right. And Abraham there, and Isaac is there as well.
Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rebecca,
Leah,
and then Joseph, yeah.
Right.
And he insisted on paying for that land, right? They wanted to give it for free to him, and
he insisted on paying for it. Although I think when they were saying give it for free, that was probably negotiating. That's probably traditional negotiating things. But it was important that he paid for it. It was his land.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then Hebrews.
Yeah, this is a letter from this is Paul, right?
No, it's probably not Paul. It's we don't know who wrote Hebrews.
Right, but it is a letter, right?
It's a letter to sort of Jewish Christian believers scattered.
Right. And he's using an example of the king
Melchizedek,
right,
who we met a few weeks ago in our readings in Genesis.
Right. And he's using him as an example.
Yes. Well, he's using him as this sort of mystical figure who appears, who receives a tenth from Abraham. In other words, this mystical figure who appears, he seems to have no beginning, no end. Right. And he's sort of saying, this Melchizedek represents a new kind of priesthood, which is really like the priesthood of Jesus.
It said somewhere later on, or maybe before that, Jesus is a priest in the order of Melchizedek or after Melchizedek. So the idea was set in Genesis for how God wants the king and the priest to be, and then later on Jesus comes in and plays that out.
Is this where the whole notion of tithing kind of appears in the Bible? You know, the idea that we should give
a tenth. I think it comes back before this, but actually this is a key sort of passage for that idea of tithing, and of giving, which I think in the New Testament I would say is not a law, but it is a very, very good guideline as we were talking about giving before, I said, there are some people in our church who should not be tithing because they have absolutely nothing, and
Right.
And there are others of us who can give far more than a tithe. But it's a good principle. It's a good guideline in the New Testament. Yeah.
And it's interesting, this whole thing, without father, without mother, without genealogy, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but resembling the Son of God. This is about
Melchizedek. Because he just appears.
Oh, right.
In the reading in Genesis, he just appears.
And no one knows where
Nobody
from.
knows where it comes. He disappears. We don't know where he goes to. And so the writer to the Hebrews picks up on him and says, this is like Jesus. And no
Right.
beginning, no end. He's
Right.
the Son of God.
It's very
And
interesting.
There were a few people in the Old Testament who didn't really die, right? Who were just
Yeah.
taken up. Who was it apart from Melchizedek?
Or
Melchizedek, we don't even know.
we don't
He
even know.
died,
But
yeah.
Enoch was, and Elijah
Okay.
were the two people who were taken by God. Yeah.
Interesting.
Bless.
Great.
Anything? Yeah.
No, that's good. Lots of great stuff.
Thank you for joining us. Really lovely to see you, and hope to see you tomorrow.
Yeah, the sun keeps on shining.
Bless you. Bye bye.